Hi, and welcome to Candid Corporate Conversations with Kanisha Hart, CEO of Confident You. Super excited to be back with you today. And today I want to dive right in to what we're talking about. But I want to start with a little bit of an exercise first. So I want you to do me a favor. I want you to close your eyes. Now, I know that I'm on video and you're watching this later, so I can't see if you're closing your eyes or not, but close your eyes. Okay, because I want you to what I'm about to ask you to envision. So, with your eyes closed, I want you to envision an analyst, a data analyst that sits on the 23rd floor of a corporate building. Excuse me. I want you to envision what that analyst is wearing. I want you to envision what color hair that analyst has. I want you to envision the wedding finger of that analyst, what's on that finger. And I want you to envision what that analyst carried in to work that day. Okay, now keep your eyes closed. Now I want you to envision the HR analyst or an HR analyst that sits on the 15th floor of your corporate office building. I want you to imagine what that HR analyst is wearing. I want you to imagine what that HR analyst carried in to work today. I want you to envision the color, hair of that analyst, all with your eyes still closed. And I want you to envision on that analyst's wedding finger what they're wearing. Okay. Open your eyes. I want you to keep those images in your head as we talk. So what we're going to talk about today, candidly, is that expectations for women in the workplace are sometimes lower than for men. Now, this is disadvantageous to us, but it's also advantageous. But it is a discrepancy that does often exist. And the reason is because, for whatever reason, women are often thought not to be able to handle or deliver as well on expectations as men. I don't know if this is because women moved into the workplace later than men. I don't know if it's a perception that we have society-wise that causes us to think that in the area of business, men are superior, and in the area of home and family, women are superior. I don't know. There could be any number of reasons why this is the case. However, oftentimes it is the case. And if you think about it, can you remember, recall, or have heard about a time where for women, they weren't expected to do as much, they weren't given as much responsibility as their male counterpart, although they were either in the same position or maybe even a step higher. So it is a problem that we have to address. Why is it a problem? It's a problem because if we are not held to the same expectation, accountability, if we don't have that expectation from other people that we can do work at the caliber level that our male counterparts can, if not better, then we will always be stifled as far as how quickly we can move up in our company, right? Or how quickly we can advance, or how often we're given more responsibility. We have to be able to show, and people have to be able to recognize and come to expect that women deliver as well as, if not better, than our male counterparts. At the very least, we want equality with that. Because again, when the expectation is lower for us, then the expectation is lower for us to move into leadership positions, to be granted higher pay when we're negotiating a salary increase, to be given that. So it impacts an abundance of issues and factors. And so we want to change that perception. And so the other thing to remember is that it's not just men who have this perception, again, I talk about this, we as women do as well, right? For whatever reason, we're guilty of judging our fellow female colleagues in the same way. Have you ever done it, or has it ever been done to you that either you didn't ask a female counterpart for what you did a male counterpart because you didn't know if she could deliver, or someone hasn't asked you to do something that they did ask your male counterparts to do because they weren't sure that you could deliver? Now, not saying there are not areas where just ability and knowledge that some things would go to a particular person than others, but it should not have anything to do with gender, but often it does, right? And so I want you to think now to the two people that I asked you to envision just a few minutes ago. When you were envisioning the data analyst, did you envision on their wedding finger that they had a wedding band, plain, as most men wear, or did they have a beautiful diamond, an engagement ring, a more feminine wedding band? Because ultimately my question is, did you envision a male or a female? For the HR analyst, did you envision a male or a female? Did she carry into work a purse, or did he carry into work a backpack? If you envisioned for the HR analyst a female, and for the data analyst a male, then unfortunately, I have to tell you, you may also subscribe to the fact that you expect less intelligence-wise and delivery-wise from women than you do from men. Because not only do we have to fight against the stereotype that analytics and science and math-based positions are typically male-dominated, so we have to fight against that in order for women to have a fighting chance to start showing up equally in those areas. But we also have to fight against pigeonholing women into positions such as HR, right? Because those are the softer industries and the softer areas of the business, and that flows with what we expect from women. Neither of those are okay. So if you put the male and the female in those two areas, male for the data analyst, female for the data analyst, then I challenge you to question your conscious or subconscious biases that we all have that cause us to think that a particular role that requires a particular set of skills and a particular, what we perceive to be intelligence level, is connected, synonymous with a particular gender, right? And so we have to make sure that our thought processes are equitable in order for us to then address others whose thought processes may not be. And in corporate America, we absolutely need that in order to start to change the landscape and navigate the way to put us on a level playing field with our men, our male counterparts, so that what people expect from us is the same thing that we expect from them. And so therefore, how do we fix this problem? So the solution. The reason I said it's a disadvantage that there's less expectation for women is because, again, as I shared, it means that people are thinking we are not ready, capable, able to take on more difficult roles or difficult projects, or to be able to deliver or learn for particular situations. That is a disadvantage. The advantage is with what we are given, the expectations that we are given, we can crush those and then start to change those perceptions that women are held to a lower or a different standard of expectations than men. And so it allows us an element of surprise that unfortunately we have to take advantage of, that when we surpass the expectations that people have for us in our roles, in our contributions, in our collaborations, in our initiatives, in our suggestions, in our follow-through, then when we surpass their expectations, then they have to change their level of expectation of us. So if their initial expectations were here and we deliver consistently over and over and over above that line, there's no choice for them but to move that level of expectation up a little bit. And then we have to surpass those expectations again, right? And do the same process to raise that level a little bit more. But it is doable. And while it's not fair by any means, while it is unfortunate by every means, it still gives us the opportunity to make that impression, to change those expectations. And as we change one individual's mind, and as we prove to one individual or maybe a group that not only can we be entrusted, but we should be entrusted with more expectations, with higher standards, with more responsibility, with the bigger projects, with the bigger roles, then we will start to spread that messaging, and we will start to spread that idea that women can perform and deliver at the exact same level, if not higher, than our male counterparts. So what I want to encourage you to do is self-promote yourself. So my tip for today is to learn the art of self-promotion. Because when you are delivering at the standard or at the level as your male counterparts or above, or when you know that you can, you've got to self-promote yourself so that people are aware of what you're doing. One thing that we as women do so often that, and I am guilty of it as well, is taking on the mindset that if I just put my head down, work really hard, my work will speak for itself. It will, but it won't speak as loudly as you can speak for it, right? How often do we see our male counterparts bragging, for lack of a better word, but definitely talking about what they have done and what they are doing and the results that they got in any and every circle? They have no problem doing it. We have to learn to do the same, because while we may get the work done, while we may do the work excellently, while we may be ready for that next promotion, while we may be the perfect fit for that project, while we may have a historical track record of delivering above and beyond expectations, people's memories are short. And so your manager, your colleagues, your counterparts, your associates, people are only going to remember what's most recent on their mind, typically. So if you've been working hard consistently and you do that on a regular basis and deliver, unfortunately, people then think that's the norm, right? How many of you all have colleagues or counterparts, or maybe you are this person who, because you are constantly responding on time with your emails, because you are constantly delivering above schedule your deadlines, you are constantly on your game, that people now come to expect that that's just how you work, whereas you have counterparts who are not doing that. They may be delivering on what their requirements are, but if you compare the level of work, yours is a 10 and theirs is a 7. But because people have come to accept both your 10 and their 7 as the norm, that's what they come to expect. And so even though your 10 should be celebrated and recognized and should automatically put you in the space for the next promotion, the next project, the next whatever it is that you're seeking, the next pay raise, it doesn't, because it's not the out of the ordinary now, because it's ordinary to everyone that you normally perform this way. And so there's no additional credit that you get. There's no additional kudos that you get because you've done it so well, so often, so long. It's just normal. Whereas the person who performs at a 7 has just done it so often and so long that people just expect that. So then when it comes to time for promotion or salary change or what have you, people are going to remember what they have most recently been exposed to. And so, for example, you're at a 10, your counterpart's at a 7, but your counterpart who's at a 7 just finished up a project that went really well. And they're talking about it to everybody. Now, you did a project that ended really well 2 months prior to that, But because it's not the most recent event, and because you're not self-promoting about it, then your 7 colleague may end up getting that promotion, may end up getting that tap on the shoulder to say, come on over and do this, or can we get you a bonus? Because people are going to remember what's most recently on their mind. So the art of self-promotion is hugely important, that you promote what you are doing in a tasteful manner. So I want to give you 2 quick tips on how to make sure that you are self-promoting so that you help to build that standard and build that knowledge base for others, that 1, not only can you perform at the level, if not higher than your male counterparts, 2, they need to take notice of that, right? And so that there are no lower expectations for women than there are for men. So the first thing in the art of self-promotion is keep tabs on what you are accomplishing. How many of you, so I'm talking to you, when was the last time that you wrote down your accomplishments that you've had on your job in the last 3 months? Physically written it down on paper or typed it into some document that you keep to track your accomplishments. Oh, you haven't? Yeah, then you're not going to remember in order to be able to promote what you have done. So every week, write down, reflect on the week, at the end of the week, what did I do this week? What did I get accomplished this week? And write it down. Easiest format is, I love OneNote, or Excel is easy. I'm sure you know a format that works for you, but something that you can go week over week in one document that you can go back to and click and say, oh, let me just review what I did this week as a reminder of what great accomplishments I have. And by doing it week over week, then you don't miss anything. Definitely not something to do daily, but definitely not something to do monthly because we forget, right? But every single week, take 15 minutes. It probably won't even take you that long. And just jot down 2, 3 accomplishments that you had that week. And those accomplishments could be things that you did to move a project forward. It could be the completion and the celebration of that project. It could be a new initiative that you started, what have you. But write it down, because the only way that you're going to be able to promote yourself is if you know what it is that you've done that you can promote. So that is the first tip, first assignment. Write down every week your accomplishments from that week. Put the time on your calendar. Put a 15-minute block on your calendar at the end of the week, at the beginning of Friday, or at the end of Friday, or whatever your work week may be. It may be Saturday, it may be Thursday, what have you, that says, I'm going to write down in this ongoing document what I accomplished this week. And do not minimize or leave anything off of that list because you think it's trivial. It may be the one thing that you think is trivial, maybe the one thing that the next person who you're interviewing with or the next job you're looking for thinks that is exactly the skill set, the problem solved, the initiative that they need in order for you to be the perfect fit for the next job. And then the second thing in self-promotion is to be helpful to others. Now, self-promotion, helpful to others. Doesn't seem like it goes together, right? But it does. And so what you're going to do is you're going to help and collaborate with your colleagues, with your associates, even with your manager. Because when you go out of your way to be generous and when you go out of your way to be collaborative, it builds your reputation as someone who is kind and resourceful. Those are the type of people that people want to work with. Everyone wants to know that person and everybody wants to work with them. And it builds your name as well as what you do well. Because think about it. If you help your colleague with something, then 1, now your colleague knows, great, you have this skill set. 2, your colleague knows you are helpful and resourceful. And 3, so now you have 1 additional person who you've done self-promotion with through helping them. So you see how that works together. And then 2, you now have someone who may be an advocate for you. So who may do the not self-promoting, who may be promoting for you, right? So now that you've helped them, they may be having a conversation with another acquaintance or a colleague and say, and that colleague needs some help with something. And now the person that you helped would say, oh, well, Kanisha helped me with this. And so maybe she can help you as well, right? Now you have somebody else promoting you. You do that with as many people as you can, as often as you can. And that is another way to positively self promote as well as build great relationships. But then not only are you self promoting through the skill set that you're showing off, through the work that you're helping other people do, but you're also self promoting by showing that you are a collaborator, you're a great team player, you are helpful, you are here for the team and the company. But then, third, you have other people who are going to promote for you, who are going to talk about Kanisha did X, Y, and Z for me. Kanisha is great with this. You want those individuals to know what you can do, know what you're willing to do, and because you did it well for them without them having to solicit, because you went to ask if you could help them or you offered to help them, then they are going to take that as an even better boon on your part, because now they say she's a team player and collaborative. This is somebody you want to work with. And if you do that enough, pretty soon it's going to end up your name and what you do and how you work is going to end up spread around enough that people who are making decisions for the next project, the next promotion, will know your name. And so those are my 2 quick tips on how we can change the perception that women perform at a lower rate, or that we shouldn't have as high expectations for women as we do for men in the workplace, and how we can take control of that as women and change that perception. Again, starting at grassroots, one person at a time. But as we do that and that process grows, then we will be able to expand and influence a much larger group. So that is our topic for today. As always, thank you for joining me for our Candid Corporate Conversations. I look forward to seeing you guys next time.